What's up guys, today we're going to be going over the Bonechiller, which is a new slug shotgun this season, and it comes with a very interesting role, including a perk that is new to the game. And in this video we will be going over how to get this weapon, breaking down all the DPS numbers for it, then comparing it to the first and last out, which was the best slug in the game going into the season. Before we get into the video, I am proud to announce I am partnering with G Fuel to stream my point of view of Claim Redeem's world's first Deepstone Crypt attempt, and I'll be live on the G Fuel Energy account, and that will be this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. That link will be in the comments and description, along with the link to the G Fuel store. Make sure to use my code AIR for 10% off. Anyways, let's go ahead and begin with the video. The way to get this weapon is kind of weird right now. It's kind of like a roll drop on Europa, and my friend who has this roll got it from the main campaign, but I've heard you can farm it from high value targets on Europa, and it just pretty much drops from doing a little bit of anything. I believe as we unlock more and more Empire hunts or upgrade the sabotage from barracks, we'll be able to farm it just like the weapons that you see right here. And if you have any other information about how to get this weapon right now, please go ahead and help the fellow viewers and post a comment explaining how to get it. Now we go ahead and look at the god roll in this weapon. It's going to start off with assault mag to make it a 70 RPM. Then we have triple tap, which is usually on things like sniper rifles, but this is a precision based slug, so it should be pretty good to use. Then the new perk one for all. Hitting 3 separate targets increases damage for a moderate duration. So the first thing we want to look at is that new perk. If we hit one enemy, we get one for all, and that will last for 3 seconds. Then if we get 2 hits, it'll go to ×2, and once again that will last for 3 seconds. So we have to get those hits every 3 seconds or the perk will fall off. And if we finally get all 3 hits to proc the perk, we get one for all for 10 seconds. And now looking at the damage increase of this perk, first without it on Carl we hit for 25,191. Now with the perk by getting 3 hits beforehand, we get one for all for 10 seconds. And if I can get up to Carl and shoot at him eventually, it now hits for 34,007. So that's gonna be a 35% increase with this perk, which is by far the highest buff we can get on a slug shotgun. And if you want to be efficient with this perk, what you can do is as you get the first 2 hits, you can reload, then start shooting at the boss, which will proc the one for all perk and start you off with a full magazine. So given that we only have to hit one enemy, then 3 seconds later hit another one, and then 3 seconds later hit the boss, I think this perk is actually pretty realistic to use for most boss fights compared to a lot of other perks on shotguns. And given that this shotgun can also come with triple tap, once we proc that perk for a boss fight, we should be able to easily take advantage of the perk, especially if one of our teammates are using div to create the crest and make triple tap even easier to proc. If we use boss spec on this weapon, the magazine size will be 5, and looking at how that impacts triple tap, we should be able to shoot 7 shots straight and proc triple tap twice. And just like snipers, triple tap pulls ammo from thin air, so it's gonna be free extra damage. If we go ahead and put on backup mag, that will take it to 6 in the magazine, which will not allow us to proc triple tap more than twice, so that's pretty much going to be useless unless we also use a mag increase, and that'll take it to 7, which means we can proc triple tap 3 times, but we'll lose a little bit of rate of fire, so it's pretty much not going to be worth it at all. So we're going to go ahead and stick with boss spec for the rest of this video. So now looking at the rate of fire over 1 magazine with triple tap, that should be 7 shots. And for the 1 magazine DPS, we're going to assume that we proc the perk before we go into the boss, so all 7 shots will be under the buff, and that takes a little over 5 seconds, meaning 47,157 DPS, which is insanely high. Like that is in the range with most heavy weapons in the game, if not higher than most heavies. Then if we put on some reload increases, for example shotgun loader, then also Lunafaction, and look at the Frankenstein edit of a 2 mag of this weapon. And now for this one, we're going to assume that we do the thing where we get 2 hits, and the third one to proc the perk will be the first shot on the boss. So the first shot will not be under the buff, and we can get 10 out of the 14 shots under the buff before it will run out, which means 440,000 damage over those 2 magazines. And looking at the DPS of that, that'd be 35.7 thousand DPS, which is pretty good still. But there's something else we can do to optimize this even further, and that's gonna be after the first mag. What we can do for shotguns is reload cancel, and that'll be a lot quicker to shoot off the next 7 shots, which not only means we shoot the entire 2 mags off quicker, but we also get more shots under the buff. Now we can get 11 of the 14 with the buff, raising the total damage of the 14 shots to almost 450,000, which means 41.3 thousand DPS, which is so good for 2 magazines. The DPS numbers on the shotgun are pretty much up there with most swords in the game in terms of burst damage and also sustained damage. So this scene is for real, the real deal. And given that this is a legendary special, we can pair it with Anarchy, which will add 14,500 DPS, taking the 1 mag DPS to 61,000, and then 2 mag at 55.8. So those numbers are insanely good. Like, they're among the best in the game. Also, this weapon holds 17 ammo, then with triple tap that will go to 23, and if we use all that ammo in a single boss fight, 11 of the 23 will be under the buff, meaning 676,000 total damage output. Then if we compare those numbers to the first and last out, which was the best slug going into the season, once again it has assault mag, but this time Whirlpool, there's not really any perks in left slot that will directly impact the DPS. So looking at the damage on Carl, 28,969, now looking rate of fire over one magazine. This one has a 6 mag, and that will take 4.162 seconds, meaning 41.7 thousand DPS, which is quite a few thousand lower than the Bonechiller. Then over 2 magazines, once again we can reload cancel after the first magazine to shoot off 12 shots as fast as possible, and that's going to take 9.159 seconds, meaning just under 38,000 DPS over 2 magazines. So the first mag and second mag are way better with Bonechiller. And not to mention, this weapon only holds 16 ammo and does not have triple tap, so that means 463,000 total damage output, which is much lower than the Bonechiller. And the Bonechiller gets even better if you use heavy-handed for the second part, which is while surrounded, getting kills with sidearms, SMGs, fusion rifles, or shotguns will return ammo back to the reserves. So we pair that with something like Breachlight or even the new SMG Friction Fire. What we can do is pretty much get infinite ammo with our shotgun and also our primaries. So as long as we get kills while surrounded, we'll get the ammo back straight to the reserves, and pretty much as long as we don't spam, that means infinite ammo. And the thing that is really cool about this perk is if we get kills with our SMG or sidearm, we will still get ammo back for the shotgun. So if you get low on ammo with the Bonechiller, just pull out your primary and you'll eventually get back to full ammo. And what this means is as we proc one for all going into the boss fight, we pretty much won't be wasting ammo and we'll get it right back to the reserves. So pretty much you can add the shotgun and heavy-handed to any build in the game, but of course you clicked on an air video, so here is a cool build. We're going to start off with Bottom Tree Woodwalker for Devour, which will allow us to play super aggressive. Then we're going to have the new SMG Friction Fire, which I might be making a video on separately. Then I do not have a Bonechiller on my account, but that's what you'd be using in your special slot. And since grenades and the shotgun are both void, we'll be using those Xin, which will give us all of our abilities and our super back a lot quicker. The first mod will be Supercharge, which will allow us to become Charged with Light ×4. Then we have a few other Charged with Light mods, the first one being Quick Charge, which will allow us to become Charged with Light on shotgun double kills. Then we also have Swift Charge, which will allow us to become Charged with Light on our SMG or even sidearm kills. Then, as we mentioned before, we will have Heavy-Handed. That way we pretty much have infinite ammo in our shotgun and also our SMG, sidearm, whatever you're using. And the final mod will be Extra Reserves, which is pretty much when you're Charged with Light and get kills with void damage, there will be a chance that it will drop special ammo and consume all stacks of Charged with Light. The higher the stacks, the better the chance is. So pretty much how this build works is going to be pretty similar to my Telesto build if you're familiar with that. As you're playing, you'll become Charged with Light ×4. Then as you get kills with either your grenades or the Bonechiller, there'll be a chance that it spawns in a special brick, which will be another way to ensure that we have infinite ammo with the Bonechiller. So overall, this shotgun is actually really good. And the thing about this is I think it's pretty realistic to take advantage of all these perks in most boss fights in the game, because you only need to hit 2 targets before you go to the boss, and you don't even have to kill them, just get a hit on them. Compared to the duality where you need to get like 7 kills, then use traverse steps to reload, hit all crits to make sure the buff doesn't go away. So overall, that's pretty much not realistic at all for a solo player, let alone a team of people doing that. But with Bonechiller and One for All, it's way more realistic to actually do this in most boss fights in the game. And as you saw, the numbers are a little bit better than the first and last out. So not only is this pretty easy to do for most bosses, it's also the highest DPS legendary special in the game, which means if you pair with Anarchy, its DPS numbers are pretty much up there with the best options in the entire game. For example, most swords right now are in the 45,000 range, and as you saw, the numbers with Anarchy were 61,000 over 1 mag and then 55,000 over 2 mags. So, I mean, this combo is legit. It is pretty much the best DPS option in the entire game. Anyways, the rest of the video will just be some strike gameplay. Speaking of which, the Bonechiller is not only a DPS monster. With the build I showed off, it's pretty good for just general play. If you use heavy-handed, you can pretty much proc the perk for free all the time, and you'll be one-hitting pretty much every major in the entire game, and even some ultras. So yeah, this thing is insane. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the video. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.
the elevator.